Dear Dad, I really miss you.
I need somebody to talk to.
It feels weird without a dad.
I need somebody to care. I need somebody to listen. Is anybody there?
I really love you and miss you. Your son, Nathan.
I felt sad when my parents were getting divorced.
After so many fights and so many wrong things happening, that finally it was just kind of, okay, Dad's moving out and this is for good this time. He's not going to come back in a week or two.
Well, my father passed away when I was 8 years old.
An awful lot of people called over and said I was the man of the house, and my mother was very annoyed with that and said, Joseph, don't worry, you're not the man of the house.
You know, we had to move out of our nice house with a yard to an apartment, and I had just a lot of anger towards mostly him because then it was leaving my mom by herself with the kids.
I was sad that my dad moved out because I missed him.
When I'm at the other house, I just feel sad because I miss the other parents.
This was probably the biggest shock that I'd ever had in my entire life, and I didn't want to talk about it.
I remember coming into my bedroom after the funeral and just taking up things in my room and just throwing them against the wall. And my mother never came in or anything.
I was misbehaving a lot in school, acting out, and I'd always been like a good student before, and they were noticing a lot of things that were changing.
I felt cheated. My brother was older, and I saw that my dad did things with him. He took him fishing, he went on fishing trips with him, and I could not wait to get to that age where I'd be able to go too. And I never got a chance to do that.
I hurt when I think about things. I cry when I want to speak. I wish that this never happened. Why did this happen to me?
I am amazed to see the increase of divorce today. In my classroom alone, I had one time 50% of them had divorced families.
I thought the reason why my parents got divorced was because it was because of me.
Rainbows opened Siobhan up to a whole different world. She wasn't alone.
In the past, people used to think, well, kids are resilient to loss, or if you don't talk about it, they'll forget about it, or like, well, they'll take care of it, and that's just not true. Even for children who appear well-adjusted, there can still be an inner turmoil emotionally that they're struggling with that they need to work through.
The best thing about this program is I really don't do the talking. It's the children who do the talking. So by the end of the whole session, it's really the kids start asking each other questions, and I just sit there and I listen.
Whenever your parent isn't home, your older brothers and sisters tell you what to do. A, start fighting with them. B, tell your parent how you feel. Or C, do what they say but get angry inside. I don't think C is a good answer because it's not good to feel angry inside, so I'd pick B because you should always tell how you feel.
3 years ago, one of my little girls suffered the loss of her mom, who was my room mother and who died suddenly during that year. And this little girl's father had to tell her that she died that day. And her dad, one of the first things he said was, "Can she be in rainbows?" And I said, "Yes, we'll get her in right now." And just keeping up with her now and seeing the progress that she's made and has been extremely fulfilling for me and for them. So she's doing real well.
I learned to talk about my family, my loss.
When I met other people who were experiencing divorce and death, I really felt normal for the first time, and that was a great feeling to have.
People were asking questions about how I felt, and that was the first time it was ever mentioned about how I felt what happened with my dad dying. And it was such a relief to get that off my chest.
Whenever anything happens difficult during the week, I could always talk about it at our next session at Rainbows.
It's somewhere where you can just let go and talk about whatever you're feeling. And there's a lot of love in the room that you're in.
We could lean on each other, maybe the way that we couldn't do in our biological families. It was almost like we became a little family.
The camaraderie, the security, the trust that children develop in these groups with a caring, compassionate, non-judgmental adult is just so important and so significant for them.
And turn to Lesson 6, Phony Fears and Real Worries.
The first year that Siobhan was involved in Rainbows, I continued to cry and have my attitude problems, but Siobhan would remind me that this is just for now and things will change. And I never talked to her like that.
When I went to Rainbows, it made me feel better because I was surrounded by people just like me, and I know that they're not going to tell anybody what Rainbows is about or why I'm there.
They signed this confidentiality statement in the beginning of the year. And I think by doing that, the kids know that whatever's going to be said in that classroom stays in that classroom.
Children who have not reconciled the loss and have not completed the grief stages successfully run into problems as far as dropping out of school, school achievement, addictions in terms of drinking, smoking, drugs. They have trouble with trustful, committed relationships, as they mature.
I think that if I hadn't been in a program like Rainbows, I would be a lot different. I just remember going through a lot of grief, but still feeling like I was getting through it better and having a better year even by being in Rainbows.
I have a few children in my class whose self-esteem started out really low, and they really didn't feel very good about themselves, and their life change really bothered them. And now as I'm going through the end of the year here, their self-esteem is a lot higher. And it's because they know that, well, I have this change in my life, and I know where to go from here. I understand that this change is how it's going to be, and I need to work from that.
I was overflowing with all this stuff, and I had to keep inside, and now I could just let it out every Thursday when I go to Rainbows.
When you get to see these kids come from where they were to this more comfortable place, it's phenomenal.
There is help out there, and there is help for the children, and you will grow with your child, as I did.
Rainbows was a very positive impact on my life and who I am now.
It just frees your heart.
I need a place where I can be safe and feeling free, a place to find